Breaking news within the last hour. News 4 spotting what appears to be a suspected Chinese spy balloon right over the Gateway Arch in downtown St. Louis. Take a look at this video captured by our photographer. It looks as if the balloon flickering a little bit from the reflection of the arch. Around 1:30 this afternoon, a viewer snapped another photo of what appears to be that balloon flying over Columbia, Missouri. That just a few hours after the National Weather Service in Kansas City posted these photos of a large balloon. The Weather Service confirming it was not one of their weather balloons. This story has a lot of people talking today, and now as spottings of that balloon continue, it's sparking a lot of debate from Missouri lawmakers. News 4's Corey Stark is keeping up with the latest developments, and he joins us now live. Corey?
Yeah, Paige, good afternoon. Well, you just showed the video. It is very likely what many of us here at Channel 4 saw passing over the arch was that Chinese spy balloon. The Pentagon says it's flying some 60,000 feet above the central U.S. and heading east. And just from perspective, it's about the size of 2 to 3 school buses. Throughout the day, there has been plenty of chatter from Missouri politicians about this. Senator Josh Hawley tweeted, quote, "Shoot it down." Senator Eric Schmidt has been tweeting pretty frequently throughout the day. One tweet reading, quote, "The idea that communist China has a spy balloon headed towards Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri right now, the home of the stealth bomber, is absolutely unbelievable. No American should accept this. I don't." And State Senator Nick Shore, a Republican from St. Charles, even tweeted out this letter that he sent to Governor Parson, calling him to activate the National Guard in order to bring that balloon down. Governor Parson responded to calls for action, saying that the state has no communication with the Biden administration regarding the reports of the sightings. He says they have not heard about plans to remove it, and he questions why it's been allowed to reach the heartland. And he went on to say that he will remain in contact with our Missouri National Guard, law enforcement, and security partners to monitor the safety of Missourians. Now, Beijing claims what it was is a weather balloon gone off course, but Washington is rejecting that claim after it was first spotted over Montana yesterday. And at a briefing late this afternoon, the Pentagon press secretary addressed why the balloon has not been shot down.
We assessed that it does not pose a risk to people on the ground as it currently is traversing the continental United States. And so out of an abundance of caution, cognizant of the potential impact to civilians on the ground from a debris field, right now we're going to continue to monitor and review options.
So defense officials expect the solar-powered object to remain over the nation for the next several days. And Secretary of State Antony Blinken postponed a planned trip to China today because of the spy balloon. He called this a clear violation of U.S. sovereignty. News 4 will continue to keep an update on this developing story both on air and online. Paige?
Corey, thank you.